Happy Monday. Today is July 7th, 2025, and man, do we have some weather to talk about today. Now, there will be some severe storms across the U.S. this week. Some of these storms could be producing damaging wind, hail, and even a few isolated tornadoes are even possible. But before we get into that, let's talk about Shantel. Now, Shantel is the first named hurricane to make landfall this season. It made landfall in the South Carolina coast yesterday morning. Throughout the day yesterday, it tracked into North Carolina, causing some flash flooding issues and a few isolated tornado threats as well. Now, for today, the remnants of Shantel are left over in Virginia, causing just a few scattered storms throughout the state. Now, let's take a dive into the rest of the United States and see what's happening today. Now, this is our SPC Outlook for today, July 7th. Now, I do want to point out before we get to the craziness, all of the marginal risk for rain and thunderstorms throughout the whole East Coast. I know my head is in the way, but it also extends from the southeast all the way up to the northeast. Now, these are going to be your typical textbook thunderstorms. They're going to pop up and dump a lot of rain and go away just as fast as they popped up. Some may provide with some severe winds or hail, but mostly these are just going to be little pop-up storms that roll through the area and textbook thunderstorms for the summer that most of us are used to. Now, I do want to divert your attention to the central U.S. here in Nebraska, South Dakota, a little bit of Kansas there. We do have an enhanced risk for severe storms. Now, this enhanced risk is a 3 out of 5, which means that it will produce damaging wind, sometimes damaging hail, and even a slight chance for tornadoes in these areas. We're going to dive into this more when we get into our model analysis as we go on through the slides, but I do want you to know that this is just the outlook for today, and I do want to look through the rest of the week. We do have some more severe stuff coming as well. Now, here is a deeper look into Nebraska for today. I do want you to pay attention to this area right here as we pass through there. Now, you see these little storms throughout the day. Right there is where most of those severe storms are really going to pass through central Nebraska, a little bit of South Dakota up there in the top as well. But our main concern for this tornado possibilities, damaging wind, damaging hail is right there in the central, almost southwestern part of Nebraska there, even pushing into Kansas a little bit as it pushes throughout into Tuesday morning. Now, this is mainly going to be Monday afternoon into early Tuesday morning AMs where most of this rain is going to happen. So right as you're leaving for work, you should be weather aware, listening to your local forecasters, keep a weather radio on you. If not, just make sure your phone is charged, your gas is full, things like that. Make sure you get home and stay safe during all of these weather events throughout the night as well. Now, let's take a broader look at our upper level winds for the week, right? So this Monday into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now, we see something fun here. We see a little trough right there. Now, this trough is actually going to be the reason to bring in some of that severe storms for our next weekend, starting on Friday. Now, these storms are going to be pushing from the Dakotas. Again, the Dakotas have gotten a lot lately, into Minnesota, into Michigan, kind of pushing that way. Right? So now we see it's troughing right here and it is moving that way for us as we watch it push through. That wind's kind of going to bring us some extra stuff right there as we go into the weekend leading into next week. Now, here is our precipitation look at this week. So this is Monday going into Tuesday, and you see these little pop-up storms kind of all throughout here. Throughout the week, Wednesday, Thursday, all of those are those textbook thunderstorms. Like I said in the beginning, they're going to pop up. They're going to, go away as fast as they come. Now, what I want to look at right now is this right here is kind of starting some of that I was talking about in the earlier video about our severe weather starting for the weekend, right? In the Dakotas and Minnesota, and then traveling into Michigan. So this is Friday night into Saturday morning. And as we see, it's kind of organizing and pushing through. And that's when we're looking at this right here for Michigan might be our severe weather we are going to be watching as this low pressure comes through and pushes that way for us. Now, I'll be forecasting every day and keeping an eye on this. At the moment, we don't know how severe it's gonna be. It looks like it might be more severe in Michigan, but that's not to discredit the storm systems forming in the Dakotas and Minnesota as well. So as we get closer to the weekend, because this looks like it's gonna track Friday night into Saturday, and then for Michigan, a little bit of Saturday. As we look into the weekend and we get a little bit closer, because these models aren't 100% accurate until the closer we are, once we get a little bit closer, I will be able to have a more accurate representation of what we think is going to happen in these severe storms for the end of this week. Now, for today, I just want to remind y'all, let's go back to Monday. We do have these storms right here in Nebraska that are going to be South Dakota, Nebraska, and a little bit of Kansas pushing through. See that linear line right here is what's pushing through for our severe storms throughout Nebraska. And that is today. So stay weather aware this afternoon. If you're in any of these areas, just, keep your local radio on, your local news station on, a weather radio, whatever you use, maybe social media, whatever you use to get your right now reports for your weather, keep them on for those areas as well. We do have the enhanced risk. That's a 3 out of 5 risk for damaging wind, hail, and some isolated tornadoes as well. So to kind of recap what we talked about today, we talked in extension about the storms this afternoon leading into tomorrow morning around Nebraska, South Dakota, a little bit of Kansas, to keep an eye out with that enhanced risk, 3 out of 5 for damaging wind and hail and the occasional tornado as well. And then we also looked at our future, right? A little bit into the weekend. The rest of the week, we're watching all these little thunderstorms pop up, these summer storms throughout the southeast, all the way up the east coast, because my big face was in the way. But we're going to see all those pop-up thunderstorms for us, textbook, normal, until the weekend, till Friday and Saturday. We have a little bit of severe storms starting to form in the Dakotas and Minnesota, a little bit of Michigan and things like that. And we need to kind of keep an eye on that as it pushes through. We have a little bit of a trough system pushing that way into the weekend. Now, we will be covering this every day this week. And if anything changes, obviously, I will update you. Thank you so much for watching my weather stream. I would greatly appreciate any feedback, positive or negative. If you don't mind, just like it, share it, subscribe, and all that stuff. We're going to be delivering weather, whether you like it or not. We're going to be delivering weather every day, and once I get all of my stuff together, we're going to be doing severe live coverage as well. So stay tuned for that. That's exciting. And once again, thank you so much.